Friday in June. Exciting.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about the busyness of summer, the meaningful activity, the fun, the engagement, but also the burnout and sometimes the addiction of busyness
Yeah.
and what that looks like. So,
Yeah. So our weekly cast is Get Resource. Welcome, where we talk about anything around getting reconnected resource back to ourselves, source, and others. And topics typically revolve around life. What's happening underneath me, whether that be in relationships or communication or conflict. And this month being June, where we're talking about the busyness of June, and you kind of really feeling that and lining that out. So we wanna pretty present that theme outwardly right now on this stream. So you can find us on YouTube, and you can also find us on our Facebook group as we stream live.
yes, Facebook. So, Dre, we'll start with because a lot of time when we're busy, we don't take the time to ask each other, how are you feeling? What's alive in you in this moment
Yeah.
right now?
What I love about this question is it brings me in the present moment.
Yeah.
I'm feeling tired, like my head, there's some heaviness around my frontal lobes, and it's easy where I could just take a nap and just doze off. I'm feeling hot right now because the room is hot with the lighting, the computer fans, and all that. And there's a slight irritation with my scalp and my face because I'm dealing with some eczema right now and just going through that. It's been about a week. Overall, I feel excited. In a way, Friday is kind of like a slowdown for me. I don't schedule much on Friday.
Right.
And I'm looking forward to this evening's extracurricular activities.
Right. Dance Temple.
Yeah.
In case any of you don't know, in Edmonton, there's something called Dance Temple where you just dance like nobody's watching. There's no alcohol. It's about being in your own body. And it's one of Dre and our favorite times to get re energized by taking time for ourselves. It's a wonderful, wonderful activity here in Edmonton. So, highly encourage you to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what's alive in you?
That I've been too busy the last 3 weeks after moving, going to Utah. I need to recalibrate myself. Need to get back into exercise. And just I'm a type of person that needs exercise, so I'm looking forward to doing that tonight and refocusing my mental to one thing at a time because I've been feeling overwhelmed. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
All right.
Yeah. So June, we kind of called it summertime busyness.
That's right. We got kids are typically out of school, right? Just get so busy, especially when we don't have support and people want to do stuff. There's festivals, especially around the Alberta area, and we still have to work unless people take time off. And what happens when we get busy, both physically in our day-to-day schedules, but also mentally? Like, how does that affect our relationships with ourselves, with others, and our lives? I see it as an addiction. You know, it's when we reach for fast food. It's when we do things quickly, when we don't have enough time to exercise. A lot of self-care drops, by the way. And we're very, it would seem, outside focused. And we're a culture where we don't take a lot of time to be present with ourselves.
Yeah, it's like I'm not used to it. Like, just observing growing up, like my mom was always doing something. Like even coming home from work, I know my dad was more like he just wanted to veg out, just relax.
Yeah.
So I kind of picked up this habit of like doing something, and that's attached to my saboteur, my hyperachiever, where I'm only worthy if I'm successful and productive doing something. My restless is like, man, I only have much time in a day, so I want to rush through things and do as many things as possible, like multitask,
Hmm.
like clean and listen to a podcast at the same time, or
At two speed too.
increase it to 2 times.
Yeah.
And there's a cost to it, right? There's a cost of like not being present, where I actually didn't pick up anything I learned from listening it,
Oh.
and I had to re-listen to it again. So I actually took more time overall, or I'm rushing things and I make a mistake,
Mm-hmm.
and I end up, having to invest more time and energy. So there weren't any role models where I saw that it was so important to have time and space to myself, like slow things down to speed up. Like that wasn't even modeled.
No.
And so it was so foreign to me, where then if I wanted to do that, there's this guilt of like, well, nobody else is doing that. That was my judgment. And so I'm in this transition of like really appreciating the slowdown. And it took time to really notice, oh yeah, I'm actually a lot more calmer, less reactive, have more capacity, more present. I have clarity where I want to go. So
Clarity.
definitely valuing the start of the day of like not getting right into technology, or emails or messages, but setting, for me, my practice is set at least 2 hours aside.
In the morning, yeah. You're up lickety split at 6:30
Yeah.
into your own practices. That's amazing. One of the things I most regret, and this is, I mean, as a single mom, and this is sort of more I might call it a tragedy of our times, is that I wasn't highly present with my daughter. I was overwhelmed. It's tough when you have to be the breadwinner and make the food and drive kids to school, and um, it's really disempowering. It's really disconnective, and I can see what's the cause of it now. I mean, now she's 20. She's a restless hyperachiever too.
It makes you wonder where she learned that from. Or
Yeah, well, I know where she learned it from. I mean, it's our culture, one. All of the algorithms on the apps and things like that, people have to keep up to outside measures of success. And it's hard when we've been bred that way to realize, oh, actually, we can probably be more productive when we slow down. It's hard to rewire that. And I think we've mentioned this in other podcasts and stuff like that. But Einstein, Da Vinci, all those people, all the great problem solvers, inventors, daydreamed.
Yeah. Thomas Edison.
I can't remember who it was, held a ball in his hand until he fell asleep and dropped it. And that's when he would have his most insight. Do you remember?
I think it's Thomas Edison.
Thomas Edison. And I know for one, I actually solve a lot of client problems sleeping. Just in that time between wake and getting up. And I know you see me wrecked when we use an alarm. I like to wake up to my own body clock. Somehow we've just fallen into this distrust of having a natural place in the world. We're in a cog in a wheel in a system that needs a job with someone else, and we need all of these things.
Natural rhythm.
There's no natural rhythm left.
Isn't it? Like to find that when I'm swimming in a structure that doesn't foster that or nurture that, like the pressures of just making a living, right? The pressures of keeping up financially and paying the bills, and perhaps in a job where there's pride in working overtime, working long hours, and the culture is around productivity. And there's a part of me that wants to be accepted by the human tribe, wants to belong, and to go against that grain is painful.
Yeah, well, I'm curious about the trajectory because, 1950s, 60s, there was a single breadwinner, no problem. Then mothers started becoming teachers and secretaries usually. And now women, as it's turning out, are getting more education and have more work than men do. And sometimes men are staying home. But typically there's two breadwinners and there's no one home.
Yeah, it seems like it's a lot harder
And people now don't just have one job each, they have 2 or 3 or 4 jobs
to make
each.
ends meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How has it gone that way?
Well, yeah, interesting, right? You can chalk it up to inflation. Or remember the cost of Coca-Cola, but way back in the day was like 10 cents or 5 cents or
Well, that's a whole other subject because inflation, you'll get me going on a system that I don't think is functional in the first place. So how do we interrupt a system that's very disempowering, that keeps us busy, that keeps us addicted on so many things? Coffee is a very acceptable addiction.
yeah,
Busyness certainly is.
totally. How's it going, Frank? I'm busy. How are you doing? I'm busy too.
Yeah, I'm so busy.
As a badge of
I'm
honor.
important because I'm busy.
Do something.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
doing something. Doing. And when we talk to clients in our courses, oh, well, I wasn't doing anything. You mean you were rejuvenating? You were creating space for your nervous system to be calm and recalibrated? I'm like, that's definitely not nothing. That is like the most important human activity on the planet.
Yeah. And my hope too is we're on this precipice where since COVID has really invited in like the work from home culture
True, yeah.
and more awareness of mental health, that people are starting to realize, or the consciousness, and this is my hope, that like, man, it's not about working all the time. I want to live. I want to experience. I want to create. I want to live for my passions. And through that, like, dictates the creation of new cultures and new structures that foster that.
Yeah.
And then when people can see, wait a minute, I don't like this slave-like cubicle or going to the factory type of work style. I like that over there. Then there's something to point to go to, right? Though it takes the brave ones, the ones that are counterculture, the ones that kind of carve out their own path, and sharing that it is possible to live that type of lifestyle. And
right. I mean, I think the beauty of the pressure cooker of the busyness is, actually, this doesn't feel good.
Right.
What are we going to do? It spawns new creativity, new ideas, new ways of living and being, or a return to some older ones. A lot of people I know now are looking for land. Our government has quite a stranglehold on what you can do in a lot of it, but people are starting to be more creative. Community seems to be a really important value for a lot of people. Real family, the desire for that. I know that's one of mine. And how do we slow down enough to make community worthwhile? Because when your nervous system is ratched up, when we don't take the time, triggers happen.
Absolutely.
People don't realize that they're not in their clear right frame of mind.
And I'm making decisions from that place.
And they're making decisions from that place.
Like, things are so urgent. I got to get things done quickly.
Yeah.
The way I say things are hurtful and painful, creating more what I call open tabs to address. If I don't address those tabs, they create long-standing resentment that poisons the relationship. Yeah. And so like this busyness, this go, it's like a great example of what my limits are, like burnout, right? Like, oh my God, I can't do it anymore. Or I'm sick. And I know when I'm sick, it's like this nice excuse. And I'm actually grateful because there's so many times when we're like, babe, I can't do anything right now, and I get to relax, and I don't feel guilty because I have no energy for it. And
Yeah.
that's the benefit of being sick for me. I see the gift in it, right? But then it's like I don't want to get sick to put myself in that space. I want to be able to embody more of this in my day to day. And I totally feel in terms of like maybe I do need to get to that limit of like I can't do this anymore. This doesn't work, and that spawns the creative juices to find other better ways that are more nurturing for my well being.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I do believe a lot of the crisis, the illness, the heart attacks that happen on Mondays when you go to work, the autoimmune disorders, the fibromyalgia, the burner fatigue,
Yeah.
adrenal fatigue and
Adrenal fatigue.
burnout.
Yeah.
And that's a good. Hey, that's a new thing, burner fatigue.
Mm.
Um, it's one of the most prevalent things in our society. We are living, what is it? Dying longer and living less is the saying.
Dying longer
And
and
living
less.
less.
Ooh,
Yeah. Um, I think it's sad but true. We don't have connection with our loved ones. We shuffle them around to different activities. There's no time for play. And, you know, the play is where we connect, where we're able just to sit and be engaged as if time no longer matters. And that's the thing about busyness, is that we're always watching the clock. I got to be somewhere. I got to do something. I got to go to this next activity. And I notice a lot of people, like, they run on if I'll just stay here a little bit longer, and then I'm just a couple minutes late and everything. And there's this hyperdrive. And the nervous system resets when there's a sense of timelessness, when there's creativity. We're going dancing tonight. Dance, art. And isn't it interesting that our culture has demeaned, lowered on the scale, the importance of all of these things? It's more of I would judge to be a slave-driven culture based on our economies of scale. And why do we need all of that? Why do we need so much stuff and so many doing things? Why? And AI, they say, coaches, duplicate yourself. How much do you actually need? Like, does everyone want to take over the world?
Yeah, I find like for myself, the more I'm doing and busy, of course, the more irritable I get.
That's true.
But like it affects my mental health, like the mental busyness of like so many thoughts in my head, the emotional busyness of like all these emotions that I'm like stuck in the way that will come out sideways later, and physical where I'm sacrificing the gym or not taking care of my health. I'm going to fast food. I'm making things quick to eat because I need to go and do things. And I think I'll speak for myself. Like this doing this is tied to like my worth and what success is, or comparing myself to other people. And it's tricky and challenging for me because I'm looking at other people and I'm judging that they're doing a lot of things. They're growing. They're expanding.
Comparison.
So I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm behind.
Yeah.
So I got to keep going here. I got to keep doing. It's like if I went to a small town and everyone's just taking their time, it doesn't give me the excuse to slow down because everybody else is on a different clock or going to the island, right? I go to different parts of the world. But if I go to New York where everybody's hustling, it's like as if that culture, that environment starts becoming me, right? So it's like being aware of what soup I'm in. At the same time, at a deeper level, is that when I'm so busy, I'm easier to be influenced in a way because I don't know myself, my truth. I'm more influenced based on what I see on social media or what someone tells me, and I'm more suggestible and agreeable because I haven't cultivated the practice of like, who am I? What are my values? What are my needs? What am I feeling? And to kind of be the captain of my own ship. And so, why is everything ratchet up as busy? Well, my theory is that it keeps me from myself, my sovereignty, and my truth. Right? If I'm more reactive, I'm more fight or flight, then it's easier to disturb me. And if you disturb me, I'm going to disturb the people around me. There's no unification, there's no love, there's no compassion, there's survival, there's fight or flight, there's every man for himself. Versus unity consciousness, which requires me to slow things down and really connect to the essence of things, and then make my decisions from that place. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just, I couldn't have said it any better. Slowing down is part of unity consciousness. Being able to drop into our bodies, into empathy. M means in, pathy from pathos means feeling. We're born into the world through feeling. And when we're busy doing and we're thinking and we've got lists, we're not feeling. We don't know who we are. We do based on outside of expectations. We check off that bucket list. And we don't really know what's actually life-giving to us. And when we don't, we act more like machines or zombies until we can't anymore. And that's where I see all of the life crises, the illness, the conflict. And I mean, it's good in a way. We will eventually figure out one way or another when we reach our limit. But I hope, like your words, people can become self-cleaning ovens where it doesn't have to build up and bake up and take so much extra work. Or the garbage pile isn't this big dump. We start to have these little nigglings. In fact, Arnold Mindell, he wrote the book Quantum Psychology, and he said, imagine if we could just tune into our body and sense these little nigglings, things that were just a little bit off, and we auto-corrected. What if we did that from a really young age? What gives me life energy? What is my own rhythm? How do I rest enough to recalibrate and trust what my own rhythm is, not the Gregorian calendar or the
Say prescribed self-help gurus of
prescribed self-help gurus.
just like 5 a.m. and do this.
Oh, right. Yeah, the very structured. I've got the solution for you thing. Yeah.
Do this and everything will be better.
Do what I do and everything will be better. Yeah. Everyone's different. Everyone's unique. Everyone has a purpose. Everyone has a unique body, a unique blueprint. If anyone's looked into human design, you can't do what someone else does and get the same results.
You can, might come at a cost.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it depends on if it's exactly or not exactly.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I love the journey that I'm on of like connecting to like my blueprint. And that requires me to slow down to take account where before it was like I'm in my head and I'm running on programs and paradigms of what I think I should be doing based on what my mom and dad has taught me, school, society, books, and just running this program, and I cannot see outside of it. And what's disconnected is my body. Like there was no connection to it whatsoever. I didn't pay attention to it. Like I felt off, and then I would do something to feel better.
Yeah. Coffee.
Yeah, distractions, porn, video games, dopamine hits, go partying, go talk to someone, like to feel like to fill a void or something. instead of just being with myself. And so this busyness creates this like fear of like, oh shit, I'm alone with my thoughts. Like I don't want to be alone with my thoughts, alone with myself. It's definitely a form of avoidance of like, all good. I got a plan. I'm going to keep going, and things are all great. And I create this story in my mind that things are great because I'm producing, I'm making money, things are increasing, great. And I'm like not really truly listening to myself. And even then, if I create space to listen to myself, how do I listen? I'm like, shit, I don't know. Like I'm with this. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. So the more I do this work and like tuning into my emotional landscape, my soma, it's like, huh, what? Even my human design is like based on how my body responds, right? Like I respond to input. It's in my sacral to register. If it's a then do it. If no, don't do it. And it's a process of connecting with that and building that muscle. So
Yeah.
that I'm allowing my body's intelligence to work alongside my mind's intelligence to guide my path.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm following this life force
Mm-hmm.
that's in me.
Yeah. And you said your body. I know a lot of people talk about, the three different engines, or the head, the heart, and the gut.
Mm.
People often don't talk about the soul, and people think the soul is somewhere floating out in space or a separate entity. I'd like to remind the soul is actually a part of the body. It's actually embedded in the DNA.
Mm.
If you look up the origins, the etymology of DNA, it will tell you that God, that the soul, the fire at the center of your being, where this life energy comes from. And you'll see many texts that the heart is the enlivening engine. The electromagnetic energy is most closely tied to what the soul is. And so when we talk about lead from the heart, lead from the soul, it's actually a very concrete, specific, and scientific thing that's been touted as this fluffy thing that has no relevance.
Mm.
And I think we are moving into a spiritual age of energetic mastery where we know universal law, where energy is the backbone of everything. It's so interesting to me that we've got electricians in our homes. We have, huge things when it comes to oil and gas and ways of moving energy in cars and vehicles, but we have no idea how to operate our body. We take pills to numb it and alcohol to do all sorts of things, and we don't know how to move energy. I mean, I guess that's an overstatement. People are starting breath work and different types of things. But when it comes to how energy moves in our body, which is through emotions, which is through our breath, which is through our heart rate, which is through our thoughts, which affects the neuropeptide system of our autonomic nervous system. We've been so distracted by busyness that we don't often even are able to tune into the most basic cues. Oh, my heart's racing. Oh, I'm starting to sweat. We don't even stop long enough to go, wait a sec. What is it that my body needs? Is it coffee? Should I drink more caffeine and keep going? Or do I need to rest? Do I need to integrate something? And we haven't even been given the opportunity to ask those questions of ourselves. It doesn't even register most of the time.
Mm. Yeah. It's not a typical question that we ask each other. I've been asked in my work history in school, like, what am I noticing in my body right now? Or
No, right?
checking
In school,
cues
anywhere. No, never asked that,
and
is it?
signs of my body, learning how to co-regulate as parents, are co-regulating their kids, all the time. like what's being emitted into the field. And when you said about soul being
Mhm.
in the body, being in the DNA, how does one like get in touch with their soul or with
Mm.
their DNA or yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've here, at least in Canada, we've got French and English, mostly English. Around the world, it's the civilized language. And I know we looked this up the other day. What's the difference between English and other ancient or Aboriginal languages?
Hmm.
And AI is so smart. And the one final thing that I remember from that is that, well, English is a very civilized language, it's very structured. And if you were to define that in one sentence, it would be, oh, what is that thing?
Like a label,
A label. What is
an
that
object,
thing? It's an object, it's objectification. Yeah,
which creates separation.
which creates separation. And then there's the objective, or not the objective, sorry, the Aboriginal languages, the ancient languages, which is very different. And that sentence is, what is your relationship to that thing?
Mm.
It's relational. So there's verbal languages, but there's also the energetic language, and that's what I call the soul language. It's very relational. We are all empaths, which means to be in feeling. As babies, we're these spongy, energetic little beings that were born into this world through feeling. It's our first language. It's called an a priori language. That's what Jean Octoberg calls it in her book Shamanism and Modern Medicine. A priori, which means it's our first language.
Pre-verbal.
Pre-verbal language, which describes the interconnection of mankind. And it's something that we're born with. It's nothing we need to learn. We're born with it.
So
We remember it.
so it's like the works of NVC, the feelings and needs, like they're already born in me, like my emotions, that energy, and what I need. Like
Yeah, okay. You're saying feelings and needs. I mean, that's the English label for the energy is the feelings and needs, Marshall Rosenberg's work.
right
Underneath that, yeah, is the actual energetic form.
which it was already given to me prior
by
to
birth.
by birth. It already
Given.
existed.
Already existed.
And so it would make sense that this is life's intelligence that's flowing through me.
Yes, life's intelligence.
Okay.
A knowing.
Yeah.
A higher intelligence. I think it's Greg Braden, right, that talks about what does he call it? Because he actually says we have an antenna between our cranium and the bone. There's a space that has an antenna to higher consciousness, to the realm or the field that Rumi talks about. And, that's how the 100th monkey rule works. In human consciousness, as one person learns something, it automatically uploads to the field of human consciousness. And it also downloads. When we are open, that's how creativity comes into consciousness. With space. If we're constantly busy, and then have you ever watched What the Bleep Do We Know Anyway?
Yeah. The double slit experiment, I remember.
And the double split experience, quantum.
And what the bleep do we know?
The observer always affects what's happening.
Yeah. There's an energy projection of some sort. Like I am, I'll find what I'm looking for.
You'll find what you're looking for. And so how do you get out of the way of what you're looking for? How do you be present to what is to find something new? Because if you're always knowing what you're looking for, if you're always projecting a certain outcome, that's what you will get. So soul language opens you up to a much higher realm. And in What the Bleep, they say, all these possibilities open to us as we set in this open, neutral space in our body without judgment, without an expectation.
So kind of being in the unknown.
Oh, it's the unknown. And this is where, when we're not busy and we have space, we enter the unknown. And this is so uncomfortable for so many people, especially when we're not taught how to walk through the unknown.
Yeah, it's foreign to me. I'm not I'm taught to not even be aware that there is an unknown.
No, we want structure, we want stability, we want answers, don't we? Certainty,
Yeah.
because it's perceived as safer.
Yeah.
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 So we put ourselves in these little cages,
Cages.
prisons of what we think is known, and it really limits our life force, our capacity, the life-serving energy that what we might be able to talk into. So soul language, the soul. It's about how to create something new. It's about how to feel inspired. It's about how to trust space and emptiness and what we can find in our own being, in our own body. And that those answers provide a far more dynamic answer than we can get by being logical and linear. Brings us back to Einstein, brings us back to all the creative thinkers that were able to find and solve problems that most people took hours and years to figure out, and it came in a flash of insight. And that's where language, the body's language, the first language is metaphorical. It's multi-layered. It speaks in pictures, and pictures speak 1,000 words. And so a flash of insight comes energetically through the realm of consciousness that our body is a conduit to. And this sounds all maybe too much and too out there, but the instant you start creating space, we remember. We remember the ancient languages that are inherited and that live in our being.
Yeah, I find the more, like, if you tell me logically, like, would you want to just relax and be at ease and be in flow? I'm like, 100%, yeah. Does it make sense, Dre, that, less is more? Yeah, that makes sense. That you slow down the speed up. Yep. So it makes sense consciously.
Right.
But I see the struggle of people putting that into practice, even myself, right? And it's for me, unlearning old habits, right? That's the work. And also, it's kind of like there's a spectrum, right? And I'm like super busy, and I'm just moving over to that, right? So I find over time, as I cultivate more of my practices and be in that space of nothingness and then see the fruits of it, the more belief invites me to stick to it more and see the value of it. So once was what, theory, or sure, maybe I'll try it, to actual evidence of when I'm in that state of the unknown and nothingness, which presents a sense of calm and trust and relaxation and faith, like, got this, let's go. Versus this other side where I'm like, oh my God, I got to control. I'm anxious, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed. And it's like two different personalities.
Yeah.
If I could say it, my lower self, which is my survival self, or my higher self. And I have the opportunity to be on that spectrum any given time.
Yeah. I mean, too, I guess this is where, because you say higher self, lower self, the fear comes in too, right? Because when we have space, there's things in our body, I call them energetic stamps,